Good morning, everybody. Live from the chicken coop on the farm. I'm Jo Billups, and I'm here to read you a story called the ABC Book of Endangered Animals. Now, the Montessori kids and I look at this book all the time, but we rarely get past the first page. This book was written by Jo Billups and illustrated by the wonderful Harvill. It's all in watercolors. Hope you like it. The first animal is the Aaye. The Aaye is known as the phantom of the forest. The Aaye is from the island of Madagascar. It's nocturnal, so he only comes out at night, and he eats grubs and worms. Has a long finger that he can dig into the holes of trees and get his food. The Aaye is endangered because it lives in the trees, and the trees are being cut down a lot in Madagascar. People use the wood to build their own homes, for fires and stuff, and it leaves the Aaye vulnerable. Our B is the beach mouse. Yay, the Alabama beach mouse, known as a sand dune builder. And the reason they call it that is because the beach mouse spreads the sea oat seeds, and the sea oats grow and they hold the sand together, and that keeps the mainland safe from the big waves that come in from hurricanes. So the beach mouse, small animal, big job. Our C is for the Koki, and the Koki is little frog, tiny frog, big song. The Koki apparently sings all night long. It lives in Puerto Rico. So I guess if you have a Koki at your house, you might have trouble sleeping. D is for the desert tortoise. The desert tortoise is known to hiss and pop and make a whooping sound. And the reason that this happens is because when it pulls its head inside the shell real fast, and the air comes out and it makes a sound. So the desert tortoise is from the Mojave Desert in the southwestern United States and into Mexico a little bit. So the noises that you're hearing are my chickens, and you might see them walk. Oh, there goes one. Hey, girls. They are loving that I'm out here with them. E is for the Emperor Tamarin. It's a monkey with a mustache. It's one of the smallest monkeys in the world, and it has a mustache. They're sweet and playful, from the tropical rainforest in South America, and they eat fruit and tree sap and frogs and plants. Ain't they pretty? Our F is another animal from our backyard. It's called the Flatwoods Salamander. You might have seen one of these before. They live in the piney woods up around Northwest Florida area, which is where we are. I'm in the piney woods today. So the salamanders, they love wet and woods. They live in underground burrows left by dead roots, and they eat earthworms and small invertebrate. G is for the golden conure, also known as a playful clown. The conure is from the rainforest. They are playful and social, and the playful part is probably why it gets its clown name. And they eat fruits and flowers and seeds. H, coming up on Easter, we have a bunny for you. H is for the hispid hare. It's a bristly bunny. They live in the Himalayas around India, native to the mountains, and that fur is coarse and bristly to the touch. They are one of the world's rarest animals, and they eat roots and grasses. So there's our Easter bunny. I is for the Iberian Lynx. The Iberian Lynx is the world's most endangered cat. The Iberian Lynx is from Spain and Portugal. It's got short, stubby, black tip tail. So the lynx doesn't have much of a tail. The lynx eats rabbits. Sorry, hispid hair. It can eat ducks and fish. So the lynx is going to need a little bit bigger animals to eat. The jay. The jay is for the jolly mouse lemur. And this animal also lives in Madagascar and is nocturnal. So I'm wondering if it runs around with the Aaye. And I think I love lemurs because I just think this little guy is so cute. It's the smallest primate. They've been difficult to study because they only come out at night. And they have fingers and toes that have flat nails. And then one of them has a claw. One of those toes has a claw. They live in the trees. They eat flowers and leaves and buds and insects. Just one of my favorites. The K is a Kakaako. It has an organ-like song. It's from New Zealand. Lives in the hardwood forest. And it just has a beautiful song. It's not a good flyer, but it leaps from branch to branch through the forest. L. L is for Leadbeaters possum. The Leadbeaters possum lives in Australia, and it is known for taking breathtaking leaps from tree to tree and branch to branch. It lives in the top of some of the tallest trees in the world. And can't you just see this little guy running from tree to tree? Lives on insects and other vegetation. M. M is for the Mexican long-nosed bat. And look at it. It really has a long nose. And the reason that it does is because it's not an insect eater like our other bats. This one actually puts its nose down inside the agave plants and eats the pollen and the nectar. And they're strong flyers. And they have maneuvers, like the blue angels do maneuvers. Well, these bats do maneuvers. And they make a sound, but it's too high for us to hear. It's out of our hearing range, so we wouldn't know if it was flying around making noise. N is for the northern swift fox, small and speedy. It's a member of the dog family, and it's one of the smallest foxes. It's also nocturnal, and you would find this animal out in the plains of Texas into South Dakota. And they eat mice, small mammals, insects, and some plant matter. I think the chickens are really enjoying being with you all today. I know. O is for the orangutan, the man of the woods. And the reason they call the orangutan the man of the woods is because orangutan can actually walk upright like we do. But they don't a lot. They'll walk on all fours, but they can. And they also build a house with, they can put a roof on their house up in the top of the tree. So it's called a nest, but some of them have roofs. They have large brains and they're very intelligent. And they eat mostly plants and fruits and seed and tree bark, the insects. They're threatened by illegal logging because they are big. They need to be up in the trees. And if they can't have those trees, then they don't have a habitat. P, the pink fairy armadillo. Now I have to tell you, this is one of my favorites. It's called the little armored thing. It looks like something out of a fairy tale. It's from Argentina, and it has small eyes and ears and a pointed nose. And it has white fur and a pink shell. And it's the smallest of all the armadillos and considered quite rare. It eats ants and snails and insects and some plants. I just think he's so beautiful. Q is for the Colca. The Colca is a little wallaby. It carries its baby in a pouch like the kangaroo. It is from southwestern Australia, lives on island. It's a marsupial. It has no fear of humans, which sometimes is not a good thing. It'll hop right up to humans. And because it's so friendly, that puts it in harm's way. Also, dogs can get them. It's about the size of a large house cat. So it would put them in danger of dogs and animals that are bigger than them. Eats grass, foliage, succulents. So it's a herbivore. R is for the red wolf, Ice Age survivor. So the red wolf species has been around for a long, long time. It's found in North Carolina. It's already been completely wiped out, so it went extinct, but it was reintroduced. And it was wiped out because of the human growth in the area, human population growth. They're shy animals with strong family ties, and they eat small mammals. They eat insects and berries. They locate their dens in hollow trees and in stream banks. S. S is for the semi-seal. I love the semi-seal. He's a happy, happy seal, smiling seal. He's found in Finland, only found in one place in eastern Finland, and they live in the water, of course. They make their homes in ice. They create a hole in the ice in the snowdrifts, and then they'll have a hole that goes into the water so that they can get their meal, which is fish, and bring it back and feed their young. They get trapped in nets, in fishing nets. That's a problem for them. And also with temperatures rising, they live in the ice. So if the ice melts, then they don't have a home. T is for the thin-spined porcupine. They are from coastal rainforest in southeastern Brazil. Can you get a good look at him? They're stocky animals. They're slow, but they can jump and climb quickly. So if you can get a good look at him. And they eat fruit and cocoa pods. So when I read, I wonder if they eat chocolate. Yum. U is for the urial, the beautiful sheep. The males have these gorgeous long horns that turn and come back. They live in the mountains in Asia. They live on grassy slopes, and they eat shrubs and leaves. They are some of the most beautiful sheep in the whole world. V, the Vaquita Dolphin, shy and solitary. They are found only at the mouth of the Colorado River, which is the extreme northern portion of the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. So where the Colorado River comes out into the Sea of Cortez in Mexico, that's where we would find the Vaquita Dolphin. The body is dark gray, and they have these interesting stripes, and they have kind of black patches around their eyes. They eat fish and squid, and they're the rarest porpoise in the world. How about that? W, another one from our backyard. This is the West Indian manatee. Look at that. I waited for days to see a manatee in South Florida, and I finally saw one. It came up, and then it went down. And that's a problem for the manatee, is they kind of float right underneath the surface. These guys live right around the Caribbean, and sometimes they do come up into the Gulf, and we'll hear about them being out in the Gulf or up in the rivers. They eat seagrass, and they can travel great distances, but when they're just kind of hanging out in the water, they'll be right under the water surface and you won't know they're there. And that puts them in danger of boats coming by because you can't see them. But they are really graceful creatures. They do somersaults and rolls, and they steer with their flippers. They swim upside down. They're really, really beautiful to watch. An X is our Xenolegia montana, also known as the white-winged warbler. This is a bird from Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It's extremely threatened. Its numbers are declining, and it eats insects and seeds. It has really interesting markings with the white underneath, the gray tail. It's got a heavy black bill and dark eyes. Y is the yellow-eyed penguin. The yellow-eyed penguin is from New Zealand, and you can see it's got a crown of golden feathers. It eats fish and squid. It's one of the most ancient and rarest of all living penguins. It doesn't fly, but it's a wonderful swimmer. I like this picture of it. I like it. I think it has a friendly eye. And the male and the female work together to build a nest for the young, and they kind of do a bowl-shaped nest in the ground. I really like that they work together to build that nest. Last but not least is Zekes tree frog. It's a tiny hopper. It's from Costa Rica. It eats crickets, moths, flies, and worms. It's also nocturnal. We had a lot of nocturnal animals in this list. It loses its habitat when people build because it lives in the forest. So it lives in the trees. And when we start to see things happening to our frogs, that's kind of a warning. Frogs are sensitive to environmental changes. So when we start to see the frog population decline, that's a warning to us to, hey, pay attention and to start to do things different. And that's why I do what I do and start to see the numbers of animals declining. Then I think it's time to pay attention. And for me, it was, hey, write a book, teach kids about endangered animals, and write a song. That's what I did. Anyway, there's our book for today. Thanks for hanging out with me and the chickens. I sure did enjoy it. And wish you a wonderful week or weekend whenever you're watching this. And I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.